Yay! Good evening, everyone. Jeff with Astroscoop, deep dive astrology coaching. So it is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is August 11th, 2024. And I'm so glad this worked. Had so much technical difficulties last weekend. Not sure what that was about. So my live stream last weekend that I did, I think I got 16 minutes in that I recorded that's on there. So I might repeat myself tonight, but this is basically a continuation of last week since we are now live and we can proceed. Hopefully the gremlins don't mess with anything tonight, but that loaded really quick, even a little quicker than normal. So good sign. So we'll wait a couple minutes. I see there's two people in. Carolyn's here. Says good evening. And yeah, we'll wait a few minutes just in case. And I will most likely, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 1 week where I do a 7 p.m. live stream like we're doing here. And then 1 week I'm going to do an 8 p.m. Now, whether that's 2 live streams in 1 week or not, I'm not sure. But I'd like to experiment with some different times for other time zones that may want to watch me, especially live, because the obviously the replays people can watch anywhere in the world at any point. But I would love at some point for us to get a group going in the chat here, get 8, 10, 12 people and be able to really get in deep dive and really get into the current astrology period, and also try to take someone's chart and kind of go through that, whether it's from a beginner level or more advanced, either or. But that would be definitely a lot of fun. So I'm looking to the west here, and now it is pitch black here a little after 7 p.m. and totally black. So, but what weird weather. I mean, today was quite warm here on the East Coast, and I finally put the heat on in the morning, and then it got too warm at some point. So I saw a meme just now that said in October, you turn on your heat, then you turn it off, then you turn your AC on, then you turn your AC off, and then you turn your heat on again. So that kind of thing. But yeah, that's definitely October. So October 11th, 2024, this is a very powerful, really powerful season in history. If any of you are on X, Facebook, Instagram, you'll know all the crazy stuff that's going on around the world. And it's hard to believe. It's hard to know what to believe when you see so much information, disinformation, misinformation from all sides, sort of thing about health, about vaccines, about Tesla's, Elon Musk's AI robots, all this stuff. So it's kind of a crazy time in history if you think about it. And before we start, I just want to mention the transits here, because, and I probably mention these at the end as well, especially if anyone else comes in. This is really interesting. And I know we were touching on this like in the mid and late summer. And I had mentioned how when we were at Pluto in Aquarius early, we were going to go back into Capricorn. And we're there. So we're at 2938, which means tonight, in about 2 hours, Pluto will station, and then it will begin to go direct. So this is Pluto's last stand, if you will. A lot of astrologers and psychics and mediums are kind of relaying information based on that. And it's interesting because the Pluto in Capricorn, to me, going retrograde, it's like a power grab. So think of it this way. And as the common person, we, the common people that don't have inside information to how the world really works, we're never going to know we're never going to know 100% either way. But consider this, that so Capricorn rules structures, government, it rules anything that's useful. Capricorn's I use. So it's anything that's useful, practical use. But because it's an ambitious sign, you have to think when it's combined with Pluto, that generation of people and the generation of events can be very powerful and very stern and sort of melancholy, because Capricorn is a yin earth sign, and Capricorn is not naturally cheerful or fun or anything like that. They can be, but naturally, baseline, that's not Capricorn. So that you have the serious sign. So now we're going back into Pluto and Capricorn. So it's a last-ditch effort. I see it as a last-ditch effort power grab for like the cabal, or for anyone that's secretly in charge in the world of anything, of money, resources, FEMA. There's a whole rabbit hole you can go down with any of those. But think of it that way. So secrets, Pluto, secretive governments or organizations, groups, Pluto, in Capricorn, which is Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, the last quadrant of the zodiac, and it's more community oriented. So you have a community sign, and it's this last ditch effort power grab for people that are desperately trying to hold on to lies and manipulation. But unfortunately for them, a lot of it's coming out now, which is wonderful. So if you think back to 5 or 10 years ago, that's it, just 5 or 10 years ago, you think about how many people were labeled crazy about talking about certain things in the world. And you may have done it. I may have done it. You think, oh, my friend is crazy for blue. What is that? That's nonsense. Now all these things are coming out as facts. And people are going, oh, okay, maybe my friend wasn't crazy, or maybe my family member wasn't crazy. So take everything with a grain of salt, because there's a lot of harsh truths that are going to be coming out. And then now that we're going to swing back into Pluto and Aquarius, Aquarius is all about truth. So Aquarius is the electrifier. So we're finishing up these power grabs with Pluto and Capricorn, and then we're going into Aquarius, and that should help all of these truths, even in just the last month on social media, all of these truths coming out. And this is an interesting thing. If you're blocked, you have a bias, right? It could be a Democratic bias, it could be Republican, it could be grassroots, it could be a military bias because you're from a military family. It could be a Caucasian bias, an African American bias, a Latino, Asian bias. We all have biases of how we grew up, the lens we see life through. So it's really hard for any of us to be 100% impartial or unbiased when we're looking at information. There's things that block us, like that can't be true. But yet there's so many things that are true, and you have so many different independent sources now of people that are saying the same things. So now, then you know something isn't a lie. If one or two people are saying it, then that Pluto and Capricorn power grab is there's an agenda there, or there's an angle. But as we go into Pluto and Aquarius, we'll see more of these truths come out from all sorts of people, not just from truthers or journalists, but we're going to see some of the negativity in the world of people that have done bad things starting to point lots of fingers at everybody else. Oh, well, it wasn't me, it was that person, kind of like in school. So, but I digress, but that's what we're gearing up for. So this Pluto and Aquarius, it's tonight, 8:32 p.m. It went retrograde so you can think back to May 2nd. So May 2nd was when it went retrograde. It was at 2 of Aquarius. We went to 1, 0 to 29 Cap. And now we're there and we're going to go back to 0. So that's how we're moving. And in addition to that, Jupiter at 21 of Gemini, Jupiter just went direct, which is wonderful. So now Jupiter will be direct until February 4th of 2025. And Jupiter in Gemini, that has been throwing a monkey wrench into the world as well, I think, because not only is the Jupiter sign Gemini and the Pluto sign Capricorn, which has been in retrograde, are inconjunct by signs. They're not quite inconjunct by the degree, but Gemini and Capricorn are inconjunct, which is an odd pairing. So certain signs are inconjunct and they require an adjustment to get along because they're so different. So by having that Pluto and Capricorn going backwards, of course, Neptune's retrograde, Uranus is retrograde, Saturn's retrograde, and then some other points. And we have the Jupiter at 21 in Gemini. So now it's going direct, but Jupiter amplifies anything it touches for good or bad. It's like it's an amplifier, like at a concert or a theater show. That's Jupiter. Jupiter doesn't really have an off button. It's kind of like Jupiter's kind of like on or it's like completely off or it's completely on. But in Gemini, I think what it's been doing is it's been scattering so many forces around the world. So it's been scattering Mercury, communications, the media, journalism, news, all these things, and not necessarily in a good way. And the sign of Gemini is tricky. So when you amplify Jupiter in Gemini, and that hits the charts of people that have those planets, and those people are negative, or they are con artists, or they are liars, think of all those people that's activating that part of them. So it's been activating that. So we've had all this communications in Mercury that's been kind of very unstable and not grounded, and with a lot of potential for lies and deception. And that's not even talking about Neptune. But so I think Jupiter's been really scattering its forces a lot. And people are doing a lot of big talking. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody, Democrats, Republicans, people that are in charge of agencies that are inept and incompetent. People are just talking. Everyone's talking big and saying nothing. That's pretty much what it's happening. So unfortunately, I'm not beating up on Gemini. I'm just saying that Jupiter in Gemini, that is can be a wonderful expansion of communication and expression, but the fact that it's been retrograde, and I think it's thrown a monkey wrench into, and it's a loose square to Saturn as well with the Gemini and Pisces. It's a loose square, and a loose square to Neptune as well. A lot of potential lies and deception there. So that maybe we'll go back to that at the end, but I wanted to get that out about Pluto before I forgot, and to gear up, because we have a lot coming, definitely, especially in the next 6 months or so, but a lot in the next year or two. It's going to be pretty mind-blowing. But we're going to continue with the live stream from last week. We're on Libra 2. So we talked about the Libra 1, which is all Venus. Karen says, thanks for discussing the effects of Pluto's retrograde. You're welcome. Yeah, I know I wanted to do a live stream on that. And look, I already did 15 minutes on it almost. But yeah, there's a lot there. And I see a lot of psychics, tarot people, and astrologers really getting into that, and which is great, because this is what's interesting. If you consider yourself a light worker of any kind, and that's not a gimmicky, weird, new agey kind of thing, it just means you're someone you're helping people, and you want to raise the vibration of how we're all on this planet, but we want to raise the vibration and spread a little more light, spread a little more sunshine to some of this negative stuff that's happening. So even someone that doesn't consider themselves a light worker, they are a light worker if they're doing good stuff like this. And I think all those people that are doing that and uncovering things, it's it's harder for the darkness to hide, or the dark isn't as dark, I guess, so to speak. But in the Libra period now, today's the 11th, Libra 2 is October 3rd to the 10th, or maybe today. So we're dealing with the 10 to 18 degree Libra planets, and today's a little further, and we're dealing with Venus and Uranus. So when I was researching celebrities for this week, it was very easy. There were plenty of celebrities and famous people that I thought were a good pick for the Libra 2. And the interesting thing with this decade is, now obviously there's a Gemini period that has Mercury ruler and Uranus subruler because it's an air sign, and then Libra has Uranus with Venus, and then when we get into Aquarius, there's a first decan is Uranus, but this is Venus and Uranus. So I noticed that these people are a tad bit, for Librans, a tad bit more eccentric, I think, in my opinion, and maybe a little more fixed, a little more potent as far as the Libra energy. But the Libra energy I could talk about for days, because when I meet, this is just me personally, when I meet Libra people or people that have major Libra in their chart, I often get a sense of them when I first meet them, but then if I get to know them, I see a different side of the Libras, so to speak. It's not necessarily bad. It's just, I don't know if that's something that Libra doesn't show, or it takes a while for Libra to feel comfortable, almost like an earth sign, because Libra is kind of unhurried. But this decade is very interesting with these degrees. I think I mentioned last week. So the stars are Algorab, which is 13, and it can be destructive because of its charm and con-like ways. So I can imagine someone famous that has power, or is connected to certain people and feels like they may be untouchable. And that's also a danger for certain degrees of air signs in general, is that people with air signs sometimes, I love my people with air signs, but the misfire sometimes with too much air in the chart is literally head in the clouds, and not having your feet on the ground, but not thinking anything can touch you. That you have your own cause and you're above the law or above certain things. So that can be a misfire, and that's certainly true for these degrees of Libra as well. And Minkar, which is part of this constellation, is related to Greek. It comes back to Greek, and it comes back to Venus. And of course, Venus is the ruler of Libra, all Libras, but you have Uranus, and then you have this Minkar star, and it's related to black onyx, which is pretty cool. So I would imagine Libra people, or Moon in Libra, Mars in Libra, Libra rising, Libra tends to rule the kidneys and lower back. So if anyone has problems, if a Libra had problems with those, I would imagine the black onyx could help. That's a pretty powerful gem symbol. So that's something that's connected to this constellation that when I was doing my research, is the black onyx. So I thought that was very interesting. And then, like I said, it all comes back to the Greek and comes back to the Venus. And, on social media, there's a lot of comedians that will do like little astrology things, and they'll talk about like the top 5 worst qualities in a sign, or they'll say the top 5 worst signs, or the top 5 most manipulative signs. And when I see those, I know that they're funny. They're meant to be funny. And there's definitely a grain of truth I feel like if the person's tuned in, there's a grain of truth to it. But it's also the fact that based on our experiences, like my experiences with Libra people, you know, Karen's experiences, anyone else experiences with Libra people is wildly different, right? And it's as a man, as a woman, friendship, love, marriage, whatever, business partners, a boss and an employee, coworkers. Um, so there's so many different dynamics there. Now I've known Librans born this week on a friend and a friendship basis. I've also worked for a Libra boss that was born this week. And I have known others as acquaintances through other people. So it's interesting of how you view them based on your experiences, but also how your chart goes with them and where Libra is in your chart. Now, if someone has Libra rising, for example, let me think of someone like Vince Vaughn, the actor Vince Vaughn, that was in Wedding Crashers, and he's all these comedy movies. Vince is an Aries born in 1970. He has the Sun in Aries, Moon in Sagittarius, and he has Libra rising. So the Libra rising gives him a really big, toothy, big smile. He's funny, he's witty, he's charming. He has his own sort of charm, I guess. And so it's interesting that colors, the Libra ascendant colors him so much, even though he has basically so much, he's all fire in his chart. So I would imagine that in the movies, we're kind of seeing more of the Libra part of him, the Libra rising, and in real life, if we got to know him, we would probably see more of the Aries. So I think he has a stellium in Aries. But that's just an example of our dynamics with people. And anyone else that has a Libra planet in his chart, so anybody he dates or a friend for Vince, it's going to most likely be in his first house of personality, or it could be in his 12th house, which is the Pisces house, which is hidden things. So that's, it depends on where it hits, the Libra energy hits on our charts. That's always a fascinating thing. So this Libra decadent, Libra is thought because it's air. So thought is the main mode, and it meets, I call it universal sense. So Librans born this week have a good kind of universal sense about people, can be very skillful, and have good insights into people, especially with the Uranus there. I think that's definitely something that Librans born this week can really work together well with. And they tend to have, I would imagine that if you looked at the Uranus in the Libra people born this week, you look at their Uranus's sign, that would come into play if there's any aspects to their sun, especially, or Venus, because their sun's in Libra and their Venus is their ruler. So I would look at Sun, Venus, and Uranus just to see that would be. And I would look at Uranus much more closely for these people with these degrees rather than like the first decadent. So thought meets universal sense, and they should get, this is a lesson, they should get personally involved. So what does that mean? Well, obviously we all get personally involved with others, but the reason I put that there is because Libra is the sign of the other. So no sign more than Libra, the 7th house, is all about the other. So this is Libra's lessons. These are Libra lessons. So whatever Libra planet you have, or wherever Libra is in your horoscope, in your chart, you are going to have one-on-one, most likely will be one-on-one relationship lessons with yourself and that person. Now, if you are the non-Libra person and it's in your chart somewhere, it may be more for the Libra person. And this also goes to if you have a Libra node, if you have a Libra node between 10 and 18 or 19 degrees as well, your node would teach you that these are, if you have your one node where you take the easy way out, and you have your other node where you have to incorporate that part. So it could be someone that, if a Libra also has a Libra node, that person could really need to incorporate independence at the Aries function, and having to stand up, take a stand, and stand up for themselves or others, or take a stand on an issue. So that would be very important and very vital for the Libra person. But the lesson in general for all Libra people is to get a little more personally involved. Librans love relationships, right? Libras love relationships, and they always want relationships. If a Libra is out of a relationship, they're already on their way creating a new one. And sometimes they're in a relationship and they're creating a new one. So, and I don't think that's so much that they're not happy who they're with. I think Libra has an instinctive need to chase harmony, right? So every relationship, every dynamic, anyone you meet, if you spend enough time with them, you will have some discord. It's undoubtedly, even the most easygoing, patient person in the world that you know, and the sweetest person, if you spend enough time with them, enough hours, close time, and someone's hungry, thirsty, tired, lonely, sad, you will eventually, you will butt heads. So I think it's really important for Librans to not always chase harmony, but to try to find it where they're at, right? Try to find it with themselves and try to find it within, because harmony is not always something out there to chase. Now, if you're trying to surround yourself with harmonious people, that's a good thing. Absolutely. And I think most human beings, we want to be harmonious as much as we can, even though there is discord, there is conflict, sort of thing. But so many Libra people I've known, Sun and Libras especially, but also Venus or Mars even, in the world of love or relationships, really, really hard for them to take a stand on one relationship and really commit to that, possibly because of the chase for a more harmonious environment, sort of thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting that, but the harmony could be, maybe there is harmony underneath the conflict or discord, and the Libra person just has to help work it out. Because Libras are great at that. Librans are really good at that. Librans are really, really smart and tuned in when they want to be. They're tuned in to people, and they're almost like a mirror. A Libra planet's almost like a mirror to you, in a way. Not emotionally, like maybe like a water sign would be, but it's more of an airy sensitivity, like an airy mirror, where Libra wants you to be pleased and they want to be pleased. So more than any other sign. So Libra's born this week. It would be really good for you to get more personally involved with people, even if there is an occasional conflict or something that is a little bit disharmonious. Like a bum note, someone playing the piano and they hit a bum note. It's okay, kind of thing. But that's very, very important for Libra planets. And Libras born this week are just and fair. Absolutely. And all Libra periods, they seek that, and they seek to balance that out with others. But this decadent can be quite sharply critical, and I think that's because of the Uranus insight. So there's a little bit of that Uranus or Aquarius flavor, and it can really help them or lead them to being sharply critical. And this is at odds with their need and want for that harmony. It can be very tough for them because they can be critical, but they don't want a conflict, but they want to point something out that's out of balance, sort of thing. So that's definitely something Libras could work on. And another lesson is to make hard choices. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we all have hard choices in life that we have to make. and a lot of them coincide with our Saturn cycle years. So all the astrologers out there, you know that. You're looking at about every 7 years, that you're looking at major restructural alignments within yourself, in your thinking, or just in your physical structure, in your relationships, with your family, moving, and careers. Saturn's always shaking and moving. And then if Uranus is involved, then there's more shaking. But making hard choices is something that certain signs, that's not their baseline. So it's not that Libras can't do it. I've witnessed a lot of Libra planets and Libra people be very tough and very stern about something that they think is unfair. So I've seen it. So that's the contradiction of Libra, is this kind of unruffled, sweet, calm, charming kind of exterior. But if Libra can, if you rile them up, it's mostly verbal, but yeah, if you rile them up, they can, if they think something's unfair, yeah, they can do it. So they just have to channel that into making hard choices and allow themselves to make a hard choice. Because if you choose to eat one breakfast, you're probably not going to have the other breakfast you might have had, sort of thing. So if you only have an hour and a half at night before you fall asleep to watch a Netflix movie, you got to choose one or the other. Am I going to watch a scary movie tonight? Or am I going to watch, I'm watching The Resident right now. It's a show called The Resident, which is kind of old. It's from 2018. It's one of those medical emergency, like ER, Grey's Anatomy. So I don't know how I found it, and I did not think I would like it, but I love it. It is so good. And the eldest actor is Bruce Greenwood, who you've probably seen in a lot of movies and TV. He is a master. So Bruce Greenwood's in it, and a lot of younger actors. Malcolm Jamal Warner's in it from The Cosby Show. It's so good. So anyways, you have to make those decisions. Now, those aren't hard choices, really, because if I watch The Resident tonight, I can probably watch a different one tomorrow, if everyone's asleep. But Libra, make your hard choices and increase that intuition, Libra. Libra likes and loves cosmic harmony. So why don't Librans use it more? Why Mercury in Libra, Venus in Libra, Mars in Libra? I don't see people. Everything is just going through their reason and what is already comfortable for them. It's like I'm not sure why that Libra planet can't step out of its comfort zone, sort of thing. And so increasing their intuition or trusting their intuition, it's not always going to be right, is very important for Libra 2s. So I would say insist honestly. So that's kind of twofold. So the Libra person wants to insist on honesty because they want things to be fair. But Libra, you have to be honest. But you should insist honestly to your partner or your coworker or your friend about what your needs are and decisions that you have to make. Be a little more upfront about it. So I feel like sometimes Libra is a sign that hides. And I think I mentioned that in my previous live stream, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. And but it's not in the way that you think. I'm not talking about hiding. I'm not talking about hiding like evasive. That to me would be Cancer or Pisces or maybe even Gemini. The more elusive signs that are harder or slip through your fingers, like a fish would. With Libra, it's very hard to put my finger on it about how Libra planets hide. And I would love to talk to more Libra people and hear what's their take on being Libra or having Libra planets. I only have an outer planet in Libra. I do not have any personal planets in Libra. So in this lifetime, obviously. So I don't know what that's like having a major planet in Libra. But I've known a lot of Libra moons I've known a lot of Venus Libra, Libra Mars. I had an acupuncturist once who was amazing. She was a Libra moon, um, but she could never make up her mind. And she had 2 businesses. And then she said, I'll let you know which business I'm going to do. And then a month later, I went to go call her and she was gone. She was out of business and gone. Nobody knew where she went. So I don't know what happened to her. But she was a Virgo, moon in Libra. It was just interesting. And then I have a family member who has Libra moon. He is such a peacemaker. He's part of the group. He's always looking for the peace. He will effectively and quietly and stubbornly state his opinion, but he won't make it at a level where it will possibly cause conflict or discord. So that's what I mean about hiding. And I'm not trying to be tough on Libra here. I'm just saying this is what I've observed and what I sense when I do a chart for someone that has a lot of Libra, especially Libra stelliums, sun, moon, rising. The rising, not so much, because the rising is not a planet. It's just the outward appearance and mask, although it is very important and sort of thing. But so the insist on honestly for your needs and decisions. You know, if you're a Libra and you're a lawyer, which Libras would be wonderful lawyers and are good lawyers, they would want the person that they're talking or cross-examining to be honest, right? They don't want you to lie. They'd say, hey, I want to remember you're under oath. Please don't lie. Remember, we said that you said this and blah, blah, blah. So insisting it for yourself, for yourself, Libra, is really important. And of course, Libra 2 is opposing Aries 2. So we always think of the opposites. So in 6 months, we'll be in the early April, and we'll be in spring, and we'll be in the Aries 2 period. And when you look at the polarity here of Libra 2 and Aries 2, you have 2 strong, highly intelligent cardinal signs that have a lot of head power. It's like, but in different ways. So the Aries 2 is headstrong and has more willpower, and it's also in a fixed decan. So that's the Leo decan in 6 months. Fire decan, Leo decan. Now we're in air and we're in the Uranus, which is also fixed decan. So if Libra 2 can incorporate some of the Aries 2 willpower, and they can make decisions, and then if they make the right decision that they feel is right, I would imagine there's going to be a sense of harmony within them. There might be more harmony, a better sense. You know, one thing I'm learning as I'm getting older is it's a wonderful feeling to be able to make a decision for yourself, no matter who isn't going to approve of it. If you can do that, if you can make a decision for yourself that you know is the healthiest one, or for your kids, your family, and you know people are going to disapprove or not approve of it, that's because you cannot let yourself down. And that goes true for Libra as well. So I would imagine if Libra can make the harder decisions and make a stand, of course, everyone's going to approve of it. But they're going to feel, I'll imagine they'll feel better inside. They'll be like, wow, that was the harder decision. But yeah, I feel a little more balanced out. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing for aging for everybody. Again, there's a lot to look at in the chart. It doesn't mean a Libra 2 can't make decisions. I'm sure someone will contact me and be like, hey, I'm a Libra 2 and I'm the best decision maker in my family and everything. Okay. That would also, you want to look at your Venus, but you would also look to Mercury as well, even though it's not a co-ruler, but Mercury is important, sort of thing. So the Aries 2 in 6 months, that's the willpower week. And even though it can be childlike, it has a strength and as a fire as far as actions and decisions that Libra 2 does as well. Libra 2 could be very active and very social, especially with the Uranus influence, but not always making the harder decisions. So that's an important thing for them to share. So it's a seesaw here. So every Libra planet is a seesaw, scales, seesaw, balance, sort of thing. And it's always with others, but it's with others' feelings. And I put here sink low because of the scales. So what do I mean by that? Well, Libra people can go up and down. And depending on what the Libra planet's connected to as far as an aspect, and what Venus is in. So any Libra planet, you have to trace back to the person's Venus. So if you're a Sun in Libra and you have Venus in Scorpio, which I know I've seen some people on social media that have said they're Libra with Venus and Scorpio. I've known people with that combo. Scorpio Venus people that are Libras are much more intense and are able to commit much more to love or sex themed relationships, obviously because of the Scorpio. But I've also known Libras that have the Venus in Virgo. So totally different. And then Libra, and then Libra with other signs. So there's always that combination and that seesaw with Venus. But what I mean by sinking low is Librans generally want people to be pleased and happy. And Libra planets usually go to great lengths to please others. I would say especially women with Libra planets, just because of how the world has nurtured certain social tendencies for men and women. Not necessarily right, but always considering others' feelings before yourself, because if you just consider yourself, then you're selfish. And that's a very, very fine line between being, selfish and being a narcissist. That's not the same, at least not in my book. So the seesaw with others' feelings is to not let the fact that even as much as you want to please someone else, that business partner or partner may not always be pleased for you to sink low, for the Libra person to sink low because of the scales. Not necessarily depression, but just sink low because someone isn't pleased or there is a lack of harmony. And wherever, I know I've said this before, wherever Libra is in your chart, that's where that's our toughest, it's going to be our toughest point where how can I say this? It's our toughest point when we have to endure disharmony. That's what I'm trying to say. So the part in your chart, the house in your chart, if it's your fourth house, if you have Libra on the fourth, it's all about your Venus planet and how you relate to your family and your roots. If you have Libra, if you have Aries rising and you have Libra on the seventh house, that's Libra's all about relationships. It's on its own house. It's almost like a double Libra or double Venus influence on the seventh house. If someone has Aries rising, most likely it's Libra. So wherever it is, it's hardest for us to endure the disharmony. But of course, that's where the Libra grows. And I think that's how the Libra planet can come out from hiding, I guess. If I was coaching someone with major Libra, and as intelligent and as talented as they probably are and charming, Libra people, I have to say, Libra people usually have a lot going for them. They do nurture a lot of good, even if some of it's superficial, they do nurture a lot of good social skills and savvy, and they're usually very up to date on things and people, and they can be counted on as a good countermeasure when you yourself are indecisive about something. You could talk to a Libran and they might be able to help you make the decision. Well, Librans can be great at that. They can be really, really great at that. Now, I've had some great conversations with Libra, with some Libra people about that, about helping others make decisions if it's not pointed to themselves. So that's sort of that seesaw there. So Libra 1, we talked about, is all Venus. So it's like that's all pure drive. So Libra is a cardinal sign, and the first decan is all Libra. It's all Venus. So it's like Libra 1 drive meets the second decan, psychology. It's like psychological insights because of Uranus, and that's close. I put on here close or dependent. So that's another contradiction of Libra that I see and that I sense is that Librans want relationships. It's vital to a Libran's well-being and equilibrium, especially Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mars. And it's not something that they will do without for too long. Libra 2s here. Libras need alone time to recharge. If Librans are exposed to a lot of conflict and a lot of disharmony too much, maybe like being in another country and what's happening in other countries, a Libra person, as social as they want to be, they need that time. They need that quiet time to recharge, and that Venus time to just mellow out and relax, definitely. But it meets the psychology here, and they can be both dependent and close to people, but yet also detached at the same time, if that makes any sense. Especially like a Mars and Libra. Mars Libra person, absolutely. That's like sensual expression. It can be love expression, but it's usually Mars is usually physical. Venus is not necessarily only physical, but Mars Libra, yeah. So if someone had a Sun in Libra and a Mars in Libra, there'll be a lot of Libra as far as them expressing their identity and their energy matching. So it's close dependent that Librans want, but they also want to detach too, so they can kind of see things clearly. So there's a lot of contradictions there with all the Libra decanates, but especially this one being smack dab in the middle. When we talk about the next decan of Libra, which is 3, that's always the interesting decan to me of all the signs, because I always talk how it's so close to the cusp period, and then we're moving towards, those degrees are getting later, and then we're moving towards the next sign. So that's that's an important thing when you start thinking about the cusp period and those dual rulers. Lose my voice. All right, so let's see. I think someone else popped in. Someone else was in and then out. Oh, thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I've been working hard lately promoting my videos, and my subscriber base is really growing, and I hope to be at 1,000 maybe in 2 or 3 months. I'm hoping by maybe January, February, to be at 1,000 subscribers. So you guys and gals can help me get there. If you want to donate, you can donate to me via Venmo at Astroscoop. It's just Jeff at Astroscoop. You can probably find me. But I believe you do have to have a Venmo account to send money, and you have to have an account to receive. So whether you want to send or receive, you have to have an account, I'm pretty sure. I don't think you can just do it as a guest. But any amount is appreciated for my channel. I really, really appreciate it. And this is a wonderful, fun thing to me. And I think we'll start gaining some traction for the new year, which will be really, really good. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I know we're not done yet, but like, comment, subscribe, and share, and tell your family and friends. I still have about 80% of people that are watching that are not subscribed. So don't forget, go in there, subscribe, the bell, click all or personalize what you want, and then you'll only get certain things from me, or if you want all of them, but then you will get notified. So that'll be a good thing, a really, really good thing. All right, so let's talk about celebrities. So tonight, these Libra celebrities are these Librans are. I've always said to my family and friends that Libra people can, to me, this is just to me, in real life, Libra people can be so frustrating to me. So again, there's lessons there, right? Those are my lessons, and consequently, I'm sure I am frustrating to them. Right? It has to be. I mean, it's just how we rub each other the wrong way. So I've had, that's just in real life. But as far as watching Libra people do their art or their craft, Libra people are amazing and they can be masters. So when we go through this list, you'll see what I mean. Libra people are unbelievable. And I especially love watching Libra actresses and men and actors. You know, Michael Douglas is one. I mean, just they're amazing, amazing to watch. So we have Andreas V. His name is Vollenweider. He is a New Age harpist and multi-instrumentalist. I think he's from Sweden, maybe. And he was big in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Listen to some of his music. Beautiful, beautiful music. And he does music on all the signs too. He does it like he does a suite, almost like a composer for each sign. It's pretty cool. And he does a whole write up to it on one of his albums too. Steve Miller. I just did a reel about Fly Like an Eagle, right? He has that song Fly Like an Eagle. I don't think that's a mistake that he's tuning into that, because we have the Raven. This constellation, you can't make these things up. This constellation is the Crow or the Raven. So whether these Libra people are consciously tuned into it or unconsciously, it goes to show you that if Libra people tune into their intuition more, they will be more balanced. So Steve Miller, Fly Like an Eagle, wonderful. Now these two men have their Venus in Virgo. So I put in parenthesis all of the Venus signs, because that counters the sun, because that's their ruler. So that gives a cleanliness to their music. It's more clean, it's more pristine, it's more precise. It could be a tad colder. It could be a tad less emotional as well. But nonetheless, it's tight. Neve Campbell, she's one of my favorite Generation X actresses. She's from a show called Party of Five, and then her signature is Scream. The character Sidney Prescott from the horror movie Scream from 1996, from Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson. So I love Neve Campbell. I love watching her. She's got a great, I don't know, she's got this little snarl, this look with her eye. Now she has a lot of earth in her chart. I think that's why I like her, because she's a Libra, but she's very strong. She's got a lot of earth there, backing up the Libra. So she's awesome. So she has Venus in Scorpio too. So if she's a scream queen, you know you can't mess with her. She's probably going to come out on top. Kevin Cronin, he's from REO Speedwagon. They had all those hits about love. His Venus was also in Virgo, and he had and has a very, very distinct, unique, clear, really, really kind of clear voice. There's no one that sings like him in rock music, especially from the 70s and 80s. So really interesting. John Lennon, of course, so many things to say about John Lennon, of how he was a Libra too, and with a touch of Uranus there, right? With a touch of the pleasant and healthy rebel sort of thing. I mean, wildly different than Paul McCartney. So different, right? Lennon and McCartney, similar but so different. But John's Venus was also in Virgo, so I think John had a hard time, as much as into love as he was. I think he had a hard time expressing love and expressing his feelings. I don't think that was easy for him at all, even though he had incredibly sharp and incisive political commentary and lyrics and music, and his whole thing with Yoko Ono. So there's no doubt that John Lennon could deal with conflict, but I think it was hard for him to reconcile those feelings with his music. Stephen Arroyo, he's an old school astrologer. A lot of astrologers will probably recognize that name, Arroyo. I've read books from him, and he has the Venus in Scorpio. And a Libra person with the Venus in Scorpio, that's a dark coloring. So think of it this way: a Libra person's they're like a canvas of art. They are art, right? And you will not meet many Libra people that are not physically attractive. You just won't. I'm thinking in my mind, have I ever met a Libra person that I would consider unattractive? No, I can't think of one. And I'm not being mean about to anybody. I'm just saying in general, just saying like even average classic attractiveness, uh, most Libra people, there's something very attractive about them. Physically, their smile, their eyes, you know, and so with people that have the Venus in Scorpio, it gives them a darker, or sexier vibration. Um, that, and depending on what Mars is in and the aspects, but that I can always tell the Libra people that have Scorpio Venuses. When I meet them, I can tell them they're much different than the Virgo Venus. Chevy Chase, he's one of my all-time favorite comedians. I know a lot of his jokes, not politically correct, at least according to today's standards, very outdated, from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But what a highly intelligent, witty, and gifted guy to be able to do mental and physical comedy like he used to do. That he made it look so easy as this goofy guy, but he was very much method acting with it. He knew exactly what he was doing because he's highly intelligent. And his Venus also in Virgo, hardworking. He put all his love into work. Sean Lennon, John's son, also into music, very different in terms of the musical style, obviously, and some of his political satire and leanings and stuff. But he's also a Libra, born on his dad's birthday, which is interesting. And he has Venus in Virgo. So I would imagine that he's got to be somewhat similar in real life to his dad, some way. We have Tony Shalhoub. He's an older actor. He was on a show called Monk, and Monk was on in the 2000s, I believe, into the 2010s, and he played a detective. Now, Tony has the Venus in Virgo, but Tony played this obsessive compulsive detective, OCD, named Monk. And he was very likable, but also very critical, perfectionistic, and he drove everyone around him crazy, even though he was so affable and so likable. So I feel like that's Libra, at least to me. It's like, you're so likable and so affable, but you annoy me. But anyways, and I wouldn't be the least bit offended if a Libra that I knew in real life said that to me. I would say, I get it. I would get it. Touche. I completely get it. Jackson Brown, he's an old school folk pop singer. He's a very prolific songwriter, kind of in the vein of almost a Tom Petty, a Bob Dylan, or a Neil Young, or a Joni Mitchell. Like, you don't hear Jackson Brown talked about like an Elton John or a Michael Bublé, Harry Connick, Billy Joel. Those guys you hear talked about all the time. But you don't hear guys like Jackson Brown talked about in that space, but he's also very prolific, like with the piano and guitar. And another Virgo Venus. So almost all these highly intelligent, crafty people, Libras, have Virgo Venuses. So you got to wonder if it's hard for them in real life to express their feelings. And in turn, the only way to balance that is the Virgo Venus to put all their love into work. Because that's usually what Virgo Venus people do. It doesn't mean they don't love who they're with or their family. They can be very dutiful, very caring, but it's not easy for them to express that. But through music or through the arts, they can love their art, and then it comes through. David Lee Roth, an absolute total character, crazy kind of guy with the Uranus decadent there. The former lead singer of Van Halen, and he seems like a crazy hard metal heavy rock guy, but if you watch interviews of David Lee Roth, he is brilliant. He's like, the man is like brilliant. He's nuts. He's nutty. He's like off the reservation, but you cannot deny his intelligence and his ability to put so many different things together and form sentences like osmosis. Amazing. But anyways, very, very interesting. Now his Venus is in Scorpio, more geared to the rock and roll and that lifestyle, more intense and more more feeling, more feeling. He was able to put feeling into his music and sing those heavy songs. You can hear it, you can feel it. You know he's not a Virgo Venus. Heavy songs, you can hear it, you can feel it. You know he's not a Virgo Venus. Martin Kemp, he is from the group Spandau Ballet. They had a big hit called True. It's probably their big signature hit. And they were this pop rock group from England. And Martin Kemp, triple Libra. And he's on social media with his brother Gary. Gary were members of Spandau Ballet. And they're very into the visual arts. I mean, these guys are so Venus. He's a triple Libra. Can you imagine? I think he's Sun, Moon, and Venus in Libra. Wow. So I wonder how many relationships that man has had. I just wonder. Oh, I'm sorry. No, he's a 3-time Libra with Venus in Virgo. That's why I put that there. So triple Libra, stellium, lots of Libra with Venus in Virgo. And then my last one, I just did a reel on him. Alex Bugnon. He is a jazz pianist. His birthday was yesterday. He is, I believe he's French, I think. His music's wonderful. I love Alex Bugnon's music. It's beautiful. And I put on my tweet, it's effortlessly easygoing and harmonious. And I meant harmonious in terms of music because I don't play music well, but I have a very good ear. I have a very, very good ear for music because of my parents, because both of my parents and also my extended family too, aunts and uncles, grandparents, so many people in my family that had amazing ear, really, really amazing ears. Everybody, ears for music. So I really can hear certain things, even if I don't know. Oh, Smashmallow says, love your channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I think you were here a while ago, like maybe back in the spring. I think it was the spring. So thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. Tell your family and friends. But yeah, Alex Bugnon's music is jazz. It's not real pure jazz. It's more like jazz pop. For a jazz purist, they wouldn't call it jazz. It's more like jazz R&B or jazz pop. Yes, I was. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. So Alex Bugnon, and I had more, but I knew I wasn't going to have time to do more. And I didn't want to go all the way down here. So it's pretty amazing. But I wanted to mention that the Libra. So let's look at the transits again. Let me look at the transits here. So for the Libra people, we're at 19 degrees of Libra. We have Mercury at 27, and Mercury is direct, which is good. Venus is in Scorpio, direct. Pluto's going direct. The moon's in Aquarius. Saturn retrograde at 13. Neptune retrograde, the node retrograde. Uranus retro, and Jupiter going direct. And of course, Mars in Cancer. Okay, let's see. All right. Yeah, so let's touch on as we go out. Let's touch on those transits again, because at the beginning. So for whoever just popped in, you probably missed at the beginning. I was talking about the transits. So Pluto is direct today. So Pluto went retrograde on May 2nd. So you could think about between May and October what happened in the world while Pluto slid back into Capricorn, and then what's going to happen in the coming months as it goes into Aquarius. But I mentioned a month or two ago how this is really important because anyone with a fixed sign that's the early degree, like 0, 1, 2. So if you have a cusp fixed sign, if you're like on a Leo, Virgo cusp planet, Libra, Scorpio, Aquarius, Capricorn, Aries, Taurus, you're on any of those cusps early, like 0 through 4, let's say, that Pluto will square or oppose your planets. So that's going to be major. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing because Pluto is going to help transform that planet to move forward. It has to do that. And Pluto will help with Saturn. Pluto will help dissolve or break or explode anything that isn't working, or any plumbing that isn't working. It will help move it along, so to speak. And that's partially why we're seeing a line of truth sewage in the world right now. So if you're willing to look, for people that are willing to look at what is really happening, not what you want to happen, not what you don't want to happen, but what is actually happening, and you think about it critically, but you also use your intuition. You see these, it's a deluge, a stream of sewage. That's all this truth's coming out. And it's not just a little bit, it's a lot. And I saw an astrologer the other day, and she tweeted on X, she said, oh, Pluto's last stand in Capricorn. And I can't remember what phrase she used, but something like, this is your last chance to get something off the shelf, like at a grocery store or something, like last chance to grab something off the shelf. And that's why I said at the beginning, like a last ditch power grab kind of thing, because Pluto is power. And we're going to see a lot more of that. Now, again, like I said, when Pluto goes in Aquarius, we're going to see those truths even out more, and then it's going to flow a little better. A, because it's in Aquarius, and then B, once it's direct. But, Pluto, it takes forever. I mean, these outer planets, they're doing their work. And I also wanted to mention, any of these years, if you know a Libran born in any of these years. So in, let's see, 1940, a Libra person in the middle would have Venus and Leo. In 50, they would have Libra, Venus. In 60, they would have Scorpio. 60 and 70, Libra people would have Venus and Scorpio, most likely. And then 80 would be late degree of Leo, almost Virgo. The 1990 people would have Venus in Libra, in addition to being a sun. The 2000 people would have Venus in Scorpio. The 2010 teenagers right now, turning 14 and almost 15, they would have Venus in Scorpio. And then the 2020 babies that were born during COVID, they have Venus in Virgo. So that's taking from the 40s to 2020. Now, I didn't do any of the off years. I didn't do 45, 85, because Venus does change. But at the very beginning of October, and those years from 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 2010, 20, you have, it's either Libra, Scorpio, Virgo, or Leo. And for those October. So that could be part of the reason why there's certain clumps of birthdays in the ephemeris where certain signs have, so many people have the same Venus sign because of that. That's what's interesting. So you're not going to probably have as many Libra people with just a random, let's say, random Venus in Pisces or something. It's often in the charts too with the planets where you have your Venus in the sign right before you or right after you, or your same sign. Obviously, it can be in a different sign, but it depends on the transit. But that's really interesting. But I follow some people on X and Instagram that I know are Libras, and I also follow a few people that I know that they've said that they have Venus in Scorpio as well. So those are very interesting pieces when you consider. Remember, Libra, there's no more important ruler to look at in the chart than Venus for a Libra person. So if you were a Gemini or an Aquarius or a Taurus, your Venus is important, but it's not as important. Well, it would be for Taurus because it's Venus. But if you're Aries or Leo, looking at your Venus is not as important as looking at the Sun or Mars. But for Libra, it's all there. It is all there. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate everyone stopping by. I really do. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Like I said before, 80% of you are not subscribed. at all. So please subscribe, consider donating any amount, heck, even $1. It's just a thought. I'm just looking for the good thoughts, that's all. Anything would help this channel. And I also want to mention that I've had a surge now of views in the last 6 or 7 weeks. And been mentioning for like 2 straight months how the United States is my #1 viewership. Well, now the US is #2. So thank you, United States. But my new #1 is, drumroll, Russia. Go figure. So right now, 30 to 35% of my views, like 3 out of 10 views for my videos are from Russia. And what makes it even more interesting, it goes, my top 3 are Russia, the US, and then the Ukraine. So there's so much bad stuff happening in all these other countries, how the common people are being so oppressed and worse. And I don't want to give lip service and try to pretend that I know how people are feeling. You know, there's so many people on social media and everything. You can't pretend to know how people feel or where they're at. You can express sympathy and empathy and just your thoughts and prayers and send those meditations, right? Use that prayer and those meditations, that mind power. Use that. Just send it to them. Just send it to them, because you know the certain frequencies around the world do heal. They do cancel out those negative forces. I've been seeing that on X. A lot of the quantum physics guys, that's what they're talking about. Those frequencies, the frequencies that Tesla knew about and everything. So those frequencies that prayer helps to raise, right? So anytime we all meditate or pray and we think positively about someone or something or an animal or anything, you're raising, you can't help but raise it, and then those other 10 people that are doing it at the same time are raising it. So everybody keep doing it, because you can raise it. So the Ukraine is my #3. You're welcome for everything. You're welcome. And then I have a whole host of other small countries for my viewerships. But yeah, Russia right now. So thank you, Russia. I appreciate it. And I know I'm not sure if I'm doing everything right with the subtitles, but I would love to know. What is the main, what's the hip astrology in Russia for young people? I would love to know that. What is it called, or and what signs or energies, planets are talked about a lot. So that's pretty cool. And the last thing about Russia, 70% of my viewers are male. So that's a whole new thing. And the whole time I've been doing this channel now. So I've been doing this channel now for 3 years. I can't believe it's been 3 years already. And that's officially. Unofficially, my channel goes back to about 11 years ago. But officially, I've been doing it for 3 years. And never, I think in the beginning, I had Russia, I think I had Colombia, India, maybe. But it amazes me now that 70% of my viewers are male. And 30% are female. So not all of those are Russian males. Some are US or Ukrainian males. But I appreciate a lot of the millennial and Gen Z generations watching this older guy here. I appreciate that. So it's mainly Gen Z and millennials that are watching me, the 25 to 44 and the youngest Gen X people. Right up to the youngest Gen X, which is like right over 1980, are watching me. So I really appreciate that. And that also makes me think about what I might want to do with my content to try to do things that are for you guys and gals that are mainly between 25 and 44, because that's the heart. That's right, the heart of my viewership right now. So I will keep that in mind. But if anyone has any ideas on videos, you can message me or you can even comment in my latest video, or just send me a message on here anyway, or on X, Astroscoop, Astro_scoop, and then on Instagram, I'm Astroscoop7. So that's mostly Instagram and X that I'm on most of the time. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm losing my voice again. This was fun to do, Libra. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I know last week was really tough. I felt like there were forces that didn't want me to talk, but tonight it's coming out. So this is a beautiful thing. So I hope everyone has a great Libra period, and we're going to have, we only have about 10-ish, really only about 10 days till Scorpio. So the cool weather, the darkness coming in more, that's all getting into the introverted sign of Scorpio. So we'll be talking about Libra. I'll do probably one more live stream about Libra. And then we'll be talking about the Libra Scorpio cusp and going from there. So yeah, any messages, please let me know. Oh, thank you. Smashmallow says she's 25. Well, there you go. See, look at that. You're 25. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. When I was your age, I was very into astrology, very much into it, in the thick of learning it and doing readings and stuff. Yeah. So that's great. So thank you so much for everyone. I hope you have a great week, and everyone stay safe. See you next week.